Hello, and welcome to Lighting the Way with Beth Green and Friends. And I am Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. This did it again. I had it, thank you, James. I had it on microphone, it turned itself off. Then I turned on the microphone and then it turned itself off. So here I am. Anyway, I want to talk to you about something that I feel very passionate about, which is a recipe to make the world go away. And I want to start, I don't know, a lot of you are probably too young to remember this song, but it was Make the World Go Away. Da, 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 da. Anyway, I don't know about you, but every day I wake up and I dread what I'm going to read about what's happening in our nation. Now we are occupying Washington, D.C. Our president is nominating himself for an honor from the Kennedy Center. Uh, inflation is beginning to skyrocket. It's just one thing after another. And, some people are asking to overturn same sex marriage and so on. So there's a lot of things that I see every day. And I feel like, oh, no, 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 not that. What next, right? Especially seeing troops in the streets of our cities using an excuse that crime is so high when actually crime has been going down. And we all know what it's all about. It's this the whole redistricting thing that we're seeing from Texas, is that the Republicans are really afraid that we don't like what the government is doing and we're going to vote them out of office. And so they're trying every tactic to make us afraid, to shut us up. And honestly, last week, I think it was, I was talking about capitulation and collusion and actually becoming a collaborator versus standing up and being strong and fighting for the right thing. And we're seeing it now with businesses that we didn't expect, who are now giving part of their profits to Trump so that he won't attack them. You know, it's pretty pathetic. So, do I want the world to go away? Yes, I do. And there is a way that I make the world go away. I go into the forest, I go to the ocean, I listen to music, I get involved with things. And so I temporarily can make the world go away. But even then, it's not going away. We're seeing climate change all the time. We're in the midst of a severe drought up here in the Pacific Northwest in the section that I live in. And all you have to do is drive, and then you see the trees and the brown leaves. And can you go get away from what's happening? Can you get away from the fact that they want to open up more of our forest lands to logging? You're going to go to the beach and you're going to see pollution and so on. So we cannot make the world go away. But what we can do, okay, we can temporarily like relax, listen to music, do something we love, be happy, make love, not war, and so on. But then we're still living in this world. So we have to make this world go away. And how are we going to do that? So it seems like it's in two parts. And I don't know, some of you may or may not have taken a look at our new Declaration of Independence, which is in our show description. And when you see that, you'll see that it's in two parts, that we're talking about what we don't want. And then we start talking about what we do want. And I want to get into that. But the first thing is we have to rely on ourselves. We, the people, are the ones who are fighting what's happening in the government. I understand that Harvard is now talking about making a deal with Trump, and Columbia already did it. So there's our institutions, the law firms, and justices, and some justices, and business, and they're all collaborating. Okay, but we are not. People more and more are in the streets, are angry, are waking up, are turning against the administration, and that is coming from us. So, in a sense, we are making a statement. We are going to make you go away, and we're going to do it at the ballot box. That's our intention, which is why the Republican Party is so desperately trying to redistrict. And they've already done a lot around voter suppression, especially Black people and brown people and so on. So that's one thing, is we have to get them out of office and make them go away. But it takes more than that. We have to give people something to replace it with, or it will never go away. The corruption in government, the corruption in politics, the money in politics, there's good guys, and then there's not so good guys, and then there's terrible guys, and there's a lot of corruption built into our system. And there's been a lot of ignoring the needs of the desperate and the poor and the powerless. I mean, that the homeless people don't have a big lobby in Washington to stop what's being done in that city. And so what we have to do is go beyond saying we're getting you out of office, mark our words. And if you try, and one thing that I really do like, I have to admit, I don't like these games that are being done by the Democrats about redistricting, but I think they've got to do it. Gavin Newsom and the California saying they are going to they're putting out a map. They're getting ready to approve a new set of districts so that the Democrats can outdo what the Texans are trying to do. And so they're fighting back. Okay, great. But what do we want to do? Do we want to replace this lousy government with one that isn't quite so bad, but is still not for us, where wages are still going down, where inflation is going up, where people don't have a voice and people don't have any power? I don't want that. That isn't going to make the world go away. We have to make the world go away both ways. First of all, by coalescing to defeat those people that are going along with what's happening, and that includes Democrats. Anybody who's going along with people taking away our constitutional rights, our freedoms, the things that we have fought for, telling us that women shouldn't vote, for example, is a little ridiculous, isn't it? In 2025. But anyway, but then it's our job to figure out what it is we want to replace it with. Otherwise, or what are we going to do? Just go back to the way it was before when we weren't happy then either. That is what sowed the seeds of this. All of that neglect of people, as Bernie Sanders talks about this all the time, the extreme income inequality, capitalism run rampant. So we've got to make our world, this world, go away by replacing it with something we want. And we need to start talking about it now. Not only do we need to start talking about redistricting and trying to vote against the voter suppression, which is clearly happening throughout the country, but we have to start talking about what we want, because if we don't talk about what we want, guess what? We're going to be given what somebody else wants. It's always like that. Either we take power and really start to change the economy and the society. So, for example, in our new Declaration of Independence, we talk about, just like the American Revolution, which said we need to abolish a society that's dictatorial and autocratic. And do we not have one now? Let's face it. Do we not have, a secret police going around grabbing people out of their cars and putting them in camps. I mean, we've got it, and it's happening to everybody. And anybody who is an enemy of the president is going to get arrested or threatened with arrest or something. This is full blown tyranny and autocracy. And there are so many examples of it. I'm not even going to bore you because I'm assuming that you already know about this. But if we do get rid of them, what is going to be in its place? Do we want to go back to what we had before, where we still felt that we had no voice, that there was money taking care over politics, where there was an oligarchy that was running the country, that big business and big this and big that were conspiring to make the society less and less equal, with more of the power and the money going to the top and less of it staying with us? Is that what we want? Well, if it isn't, we've got to start sowing the seeds of the new world now. And one of the things that we've talked about is people starting to talk to each other. People at work, we were saying, in Germany, for example, the board of directors of these major corporations have to have workers on them. I think it's 50%. Well, if you're working for a company, you should have a 50% say, at least, in what goes on. We didn't get that. We don't have that. Women need to have a say in what our healthcare is going to look like. People of all different colors need to talk about what they need, what they want. Yes, some people talk about a path to citizenship. What would that look like? What do the immigrants need? And another thing that just pisses me off is that the government is justifying sending the police, the military into Washington D.C. They're saying that's because of crime and all of that, which we know is not the case. We know that, but they never say, we would love to help you if there is crime, which of course there still is in DC. Why is that? How can we help? What resources do you need in order to deal with these problems? The young people, they're upset, them being, quote, juvenile delinquents is the word that they used to use, that they're complaining about the youth in the streets, like it's everywhere. But in any case, yes, there's a problem with homelessness. How can we help? Does the government say, how can we help? No, it's like, we're going to just go in there, we're going to order everybody around, and we're going to put people in prison, and that's going to solve all the problems. Yeah, like we know that's going to solve any problem. It's just going to make it all worse. So what does that mean? It's in our hands. We have to start thinking about what we want. And I am challenging you, every one of you who is watching this show, either live or later, put it in your comments. Think about it. What world do we want to replace the one that we want to get rid of? And with that, I'm going to bring in my panel. And let's see, who have we got here? First of all, we have James Maynard.
Hello.
Very good. I don't know where he went. Alrighty. Now, Lizzie Treehard.
Hello.
Okay, and I think I'm going to turn Lizzie's voice up. I can't turn Lizzie's voice up.
Oh,
Oh, yes, I can. I turned James down a little bit. Oh, I'm using my executive power here. Okay, I never use my power, but I'm going to start now. And here we have Todd Benton.
Now we're all in four squares. Yay! It's like Hollywood
Yeah.
Squares.
Isn't this great? Isn't this great? James is upstairs on a computer that works. And Lizzie, you're too weak. I'm going to try to make you louder again. Okay, can you speak?
That better?
Yes. Is
Good.
everybody hearing her well?
Yes, but she could talk a little bit more so I can tell. I mean,
My phone today, because my other device was used and not recharged, so
Oh,
that's why it's different.
oh, okay. Yeah, well, it's cutting in and out a little bit, but at
if
least
you get a
you're
little
loud.
closer, I know I mean, your face is taking up the screen, but that might help.
I'll have to
Hopefully.
hold it
There
when
you
I'm
go.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. All right, and James, would you like to say hi?
Hello, hello.
Okay, so here we are. Any comments? Yes, James.
Well, yes, I'm glad you mentioned the new Declaration of Independence because that sets forth some of the things that can be part of a vision for a better future. Uh, One of the terms referred to in there is economic democracy. We right now have rampant capitalism, unbridled greed, uh, and exploitation of workers, such that the workers' wages are flat, and they have been the past 50 years and more. And all the excess of the increase of productivity is going to suit more and more and more wealthy people, wealthier and wealthier people. If we had an economic democracy, it'd be like a co-op where it gets kind of leveled out. Everybody has a share, and we contribute what we can, we take what we can, what we need, but we're all in it together. That we don't have this huge gap of tremendous wealth and power in the hands of a few. And that's just one of the things, that whole idea of economic democracy. And then, of course, the other is simply if we want this world to go away, we've got to fight to make it go away, like you say. And so that means mobilizing, that means effectively strategizing to make accountable, hold accountable all of those people, all of those politicians who are going along with these illegal and unconstitutional and harmful practices. So
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, James. And one of the things which we've talked about, and others have talked about this too, is getting money out of politics. They're
yeah,
actually trying to make an effort now to get money out of the Democratic primary. Whoa. Let's make that even bigger. And we have, and Amy wrote, I can hear everyone equally well. Hey, we have equality here. So I love that. But what I'm saying is, because you say we should mobilize. I agree with you, James. I think many of us are thinking we need to mobilize to get the current administration out of office, but we are not thinking about mobilizing for what we want. And we need both. Amy says some specifics, James. I don't know what you're referring to. He was talking about cooperatives and
yeah, things like getting rid of Citizens United, that case that allows unlimited contributions by the wealthy, such as happened in this recent election with Elon Musk, what over $370 million, and helping to push Trump over the line, as compared to the people who don't have that kind of money, don't have that kind of clout. So get rid of it. Get rid of that Citizens United decision by the Supreme Court. Pass a law, and pass a law where you have the voters, the taxpayers finance the campaigns. No private contributions, no private influence.
right, right. So, in our new Declaration of Independence, which you can look at if you click on the link, you'll see some other suggestions. But it's not just our suggestions, it's that people need to come up with suggestions. Okay, thank you, James. Who else would like to share? Lizzie.
I would like to see more income equality, people to have health care that they can afford, that's good health care, that gets the care that we need when we need it. We're experiencing having to pay a lot of money to get health care that's, so that's not good. How to do that, I don't, other countries have health care for all, And so if they're doing it, then why can't we do it?
Right.
I would love to see a society that cares for people, and there is no homeless because there's safety nets.
Right.
That the people in government actually care about the people that voted them in for those offices.
Yeah.
That the politicians not have extraordinary, really good health care and time off, these recesses. And it's like, well, we all work, but also to have work schedules that are balanced so that people are rested, that we're well.
Yeah.
I work in a outpatient clinic, and I have productivity standards, and I don't know where all that money's going. I hear that the reimbursement rates. So for insurance companies, I'd like to see them. They need to be policed, because whether I am a practitioner or a patient trying to get health care, it is really hard to get reimbursement. For CEOs to, why do they need to make so much money?
Yes.
And people are dying because certain people want to make more money. And I'd love a society where people wake up to that. And for the people who are making it, for them to wake up and be like, gosh, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at like Singapore. They have a society where people care for each other.
Yeah.
It happens in other places. I want that.
Yeah.
Not just here in this country, but all over to get rid of dictatorship, but for people caring for others.
Yeah. I can feel your sincerity. I feel your passion. I feel your connection to what you're saying. Uh, I bet the rest of my panel feels that way too. You're very persuasive, Lizzie Treehard. Get out there and start talking about it. Again, I see a lot of people saying, we have to resist Trump. We have to do this. We have to do that. We stand up. There's another rally, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, I agree. We have to get rid of that world, but we have to also be talking about what we're replacing with. We need to have as much attention on that as we do on getting rid of, when I think about the Bolshevik Revolution, uh, in Russia, of course, against the Tsar. So it wasn't just, we want to get rid of the Tsar. They were talking about creating an egalitarian society. They didn't succeed. There's a lot of reasons why they did not succeed, but they were putting forward an ideology that inspired people, that people would want to fight for the well-being of the masses of people. And it's happened. People do care, and it's happening. And what's happening is happening to us. That is the cool thing about this nightmare we're living through. Nobody is exempt. You never know. If the president of Intel can be threatened by Donald Trump, then what about me? That's a very small person. So we want it all. And here's Betsy says, hello to everyone. Happy to see you all. Beth, James, Todd, and Lizzie. I coincide with Lizzie's words. Yes, yes, yay.
You
So glad to have you. Doesn't that make you feel good?
have additional
All right.
that people that racism is like extinct.
Is
Extinct.
what? Extinct. Oh, yes.
People are people. Let people be who they are. Let people love who they
Right.
feel drawn to. That sex
Exactly.
is just a spectrum, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
And you can marry whoever you want. Our marriage license will not be taken away. I'm
Really.
going to be told I can't make a decision for my wife if she's in the hospital dying or something.
Yeah. It's outrageous. And they take it one by one. They start with the most vulnerable, the undocumented. Then they go after the people who actually have legal status but who are immigrants, and then they go after American citizens, and they're going after gays. We'll see how that works. And they already went after trans. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Okay, Todd, would you like to share?
I would. I just want to echo what everyone has already said. I felt your passion, Beth, in just sharing the topic and a little bit of anger underneath it, but mostly passion. Yeah. And I feel the same way, and I agree with you. And I do talk about that when I'm talking to people, when I'm talking with friends about, yes, we need to resist Trump, but we also need a vision of what we're for. We don't want to go back to the way it was. And I have that conversation. That's like my elevator speech, really, I'm serious, because it's natural. It just comes out now because I've said it enough times,
Yeah.
and people really get it. They agree. So, that is a good thing when I get that feedback that people are like, yeah, you're right. That, not that I'm trying to be right. It's just that people are resonating with that message. That's what it tells me. And that's why I love saying it, and I love saying it because it feels like the truth. One of the things I'm also sharing is Christine recently read The Rise and Fall of the Rise and Fall of the, what was it called? Oh my God.
The Third Reich?
The Third Reich. Thank you. It's a well-known book, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich.
Right.
And she said, it's the rise and fall of the Third Reich.
That's right.
It's not going to last forever,
No.
And so we need to be prepared when the fall does happen with what is next.
Yes.
So I love your message. I'm behind it in that way of like continuing to share that with people and putting it out there, because people need to be focused on that as well, as much as the resistance, if not more,
Yes.
because that is what inspires people. Yeah. It's, you get motivated to fight Trump, but like, how many times can you go stand on the street corner, and go with your sign? And, it feels a little counterproductive at some point. I want to do more than that. And I think, lobbying for what we want would be a more effective use than getting people to honk at you on a street corner. So, yeah.
Exactly, Todd. And, we've talked about when we first did the new Declaration of Independence. And by the way, everybody out there, read the thing and sign the petition.
Yes.
It's not going to get you put in jail, or maybe it will, but I doubt it. But anyway, sign the petition and start talking to people about what we want. Every circle you're in, you could be talking to people among your friends. Well, what kind of society would you like? What would you like? If you're a member of a board of, your local school board, what do we want for our children?
Right.
If you're in a company, what would we like? I remember in the day when I was a union steward at the phone company. First of all, I have to tell you that before I go on with that, I want to say that Betsy is in Puerto Rico, and they know what it's like to be at the bottom of Trump's barrel, to be to have target practice used against you because he doesn't like you. And so, we are well aware of what's happened to people in many places of the country where the government doesn't feel like it's going to get the support that it wants. So then it treats you worse, right? But together, we are going to combat that. And I know I was saying something before I gave myself that break. What was I talking about? Oh, yes, in the day when I worked for the phone company. In those days, the unions were controlled completely by the men. I don't want to tell you what year this was that I was working for the phone company. Well, I'll give you a clue. I was born in 1945, and so it was pretty early. And all the top the better paid jobs were always held by the men. The engineers, the administrators, they were all men. And the guys who, climbed the telephone poles and all, they got much, I mean, they didn't get the wages that the CEO got, but they were getting way more than the women. We were in the typing pool. We were file clerks. We were in the file. And I, being a little rabble rouser at the time, went to the girls. We were the girls in those days, in the file room and in the typing pool, and we talked about what we wanted, and we wanted a cafeteria,
Hmm.
and we started demonstrating for a cafeteria, and then we had no right about who is going to represent us. A union steward is the person who represents the workers in that area. We didn't have the right. The head of the union told us who was going to represent us. And we got together and we did a position. Now, we did not get the cafeteria. I was out of the company before we got that far, but we did start demonstrating. But what we did get is we got our own representative as the union steward. It was me.
Mm.
The women got together and voted for me. And we had this petition and we went in to the union meeting and we said, our group has nominated and has voted for Beth to be our union steward, and they accepted it. So, okay, we didn't win everything we wanted, but we started mobilizing and it changed things. The women started to feel like they had some rights and some empowerment. And it's too bad that they managed to get me out of the company uh, before I could do anything. But that's a long story. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. It takes time. It takes time. People don't even feel like they have a right to ask for what they need.
Mhm.
Like Lizzie, you were bringing up, why don't we have health care for everybody? Well, why don't we? I don't care if you're legal, illegal, whatever you are. You need health care. That's a basic human right. And I don't want you to be sick. Now we having more. Did you hear in Alligator Alcatraz that there's viruses going around because they don't have, yeah, I mean, they're not taking care of people and everybody's going to get sick and eventually it'll get to the guards and it'll get to everybody else. So, it's stupid. Everybody needs healthcare so that we can all be healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, so we can all do our jobs. And Betsy said, we should love one another how they are. Yes, indeed. That is true, Beth, what you have said. We live that here in Puerto Rico. You sure do. You sure do.
Hmm.
And, and he's doing the same thing to many parts of our own country. Inside, I mean, Puerto Rico is part of the United States, but it's not a state, right? Anyway, you get those Puerto Ricans out there mobilized. So, does anyone else have anything that you would like to share tonight? Yes, Lizzie.
Yeah, also for everyone to have good, healthy food, to be able to
Yes,
go to a restaurant and not have to worry, or even at the grocery store, have to worry about what chemicals are in it.
yes,
It's going to give me cancer.
yes. Pesticide-free food.
For that to be the norm.
For that to be the norm, exactly.
Water to be clean. For it
Yes.
to be clean. So
Right,
that
and it's instead they're dismantling the regulations of the Environmental Protection Agency. Pretty much everything that they're doing, we want the opposite. But we want more than just going back to the way it was because we didn't have healthy food then either. James, it looks like you had your hand up.
Yes, also the world that I want to go away is my inner world, where I have my own personal pathologies, my need to prove stuff, prove myself, constantly evaluating myself. What's my value? What do I have to prove, achieve, etc. Creates a lot of stress, creates a lot of anxiety. I want that world to go away too.
Hmm. Nice.
Bravo, James. Bravo. We want that for you too. And we want that for us. Because if every one of us could overcome that need to prove ourselves, then we would come together and say, how can I help? Just like I said, why isn't the government going into DC and saying, you're still having a problem with teenagers, let's say. What can we do to help? What does the research tell us? What do we really need? No, instead, we're just going to gut all the research. Why don't we just go back to beating children? And that'll be, that's it. Throw them in jail. We already have the highest level of incarceration in the world. That was before they started incarcerating immigrants.
Right.
It's obscene. It's obscene. So I think that's about it for tonight. Please share this program with everybody you know. That is an act of defiance. And it is more than an act of defiance, it's also an act of mobilization, because this other people will be hearing this and saying, I agree with you. I have not been thinking enough about what we want and what we need. And then we start to look at each other and we realize we only have each other. We can't wait for somebody outside us, some authority figure, somebody wealthy. Oh, I'm not saying that they can't help, or some benevolent, foundation to save us. We need us, our real selves, like James was talking about. We need each other, every one of us, to come together, use our intelligence, use our good hearts, like Betsy was talking about, and fight for the good. So please share this program. Give it a like or a love on Facebook and follow our Facebook page, our public page, please. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Start sharing our programs because YouTube won't let us. We are blocked every which way. I cannot get my programs out. You could get my programs out. You sending it to somebody who sent it to somebody. If you agree with it, spread it and ask other people to spread it. Because otherwise, I can't get beyond the oppression that has been. First, they took away my monetization for no reason. Then they stopped allowing me to promote. And Todd knows all this. He's been with me through all of this. I'm not crazy. It's happened.
Yep.
It happened a long time ago. And so I need you. You need me. We need each other. And come back tomorrow night. We're going to have soothing, beautiful music, we hope, with magical improvs, the Kindred Spirits Band. Betsy is a great fan of ours, and she gives us so much love and support. James and I play together on my phantasmagoric keyboard. And and that's Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And Wednesdays, we come back here live or watch it anytime you want and share the word. So with that, I am going to I'm going to start the music and close.